You're listening to Misopinionated, real life, real perspective, and unapologetic truth. Here is your host, Divine Priestess.
Hello, everyone. So welcome to another episode of Misopinionated. I am your host, Divine Priestess. And let me fix this mic. Hold on. Let's see. All right. Is that good? Hopefully that's good. And it's not too loud because y'all know how I be projecting my voice. So this is another episode of Misopinionated. This is my second run of recording this particular episode. I don't know what's going on with this platform, but they messing up. They're messing up. But this episode is about nervous system regulation. Okay, healing the mind, body, and spirit. And when a lot of people think of healing the mind, they think it's just that's where it is. Okay, but it connects. I always look at the mind, body, and spirit, how it's gears, 3 gears, and all 3 of them need to be turning. So the way things can move smoothly, right? If one gear is not running, then all right, the other 2 is like really gonna have to put in some work, or it just might lock up, right? Okay. Anyways, let me do my little script. Let me read my script first before I start yapping. Okay. So healing isn't just mental, it's physical, emotional, and spiritual. Okay? So in this episode, we explore the nervous system. We explore the nervous system regulation and how stress, trauma, and survival mode affect the mind, body, and spirit. Many of us focus on healing through thought and reflection, but true healing also requires safety in the body and peace in the spirit. So we're going to talk about what dysregulation looks like, how the body holds stress, why rest can feel uncomfortable, and the spiritual importance of grounding, slowing down, and reconnecting with yourself. Because healing isn't just about changing your mind. Okay, a lot of people say it's in the mind. It also affects a lot of things. So it's not just about changing your mind. It's about teaching your body and spirit it is safe to exist in peace. So a lot of people think healing starts in the mind, and it does, but it does not end there. There is a lot more that goes into it. You can think something all you want, but you also have to put forth action. Okay, that's number 1. You can think something, but it starts to trickle into other areas of your life. Okay, other areas of your being. So just because you can understand your trauma and understand your triggers and understand your patterns, okay, it still feels unsafe in your body. You can be very aware. I'm a person that's very aware. I'm very self-aware. I've had therapists tell me that. I'm very self-aware. They just really sat there and listened to me talk. It was like, you know. So it's still something in your body. Okay? There's still some type of disconnect that's happening between the mind and the body. Okay? So healing isn't just mindset work, it's body work and it's spirit work. And this is where people don't understand spirituality. Yes, spirituality. We do work with spirits. But from what I know, spirituality affects the body. It's to heal the body and the mind. These 3 things are a triad: mind, body, spirit. They work together. When one is off, the others are having to pick up that weight, having to pick up that slack. And then it's still putting more pressure. The pressure that you're trying to get rid of, you're putting it on other things now. You see what I'm saying? So today we're talking about nervous system regulation, what it means, why it matters, and how healing the mind, body, and spirit work together. This is also a great way to talk about Casa de Aguas, Duces. Okay, so real quickly, Casa de Aguas, Duces is a nonprofit. It's a 501c3. It is my baby. Okay, Casa de Aguas, Duces started 2021. 2021 is when Casa came about. Now, I did have a brick and mortar at the time, and I wanted to do so many things with that brick and mortar. It was just way too much. However, within that brick and mortar, I was having different ceremonies, bringing knowledge, awareness to indigenous practices and cultures. So cacao circles, well, back then we used to call it cacao ceremonies, but the cacao circles was a space where healing was taking place. And we were doing it with cacao because cacao, again, everything has its own spirit. So cacao spiritually works on the heart, emotions, opening that heart center, but also on a physical level, it's good for the heart, right? Dark chocolate comes from cacao. And everyone's like, oh, chocolate's good for the heart. Cacao. Get that cacao. Okay. And so Casa Duces was, again, mind, body, spirit. Doing it with indigenous practices. Okay. There's more practices, there's more medicines besides ayahuasca, besides gumbo, besides mushrooms, besides Mary Jane, okay, besides Duckworth. There's more medicines out there. And there's medicines out there that is less intrusive, that's not as harsh, but also working with plants. Plants is going to help you, but it's not going to do it for you. So when a lot of people think of spirituality, they think that they are all problems to solve. No, you still have to do the stuff. But anyways, Casa de los Duces, as of 2025, became a 501c3. Okay, so it's officially a nonprofit. It's federally recognized as a nonprofit now. And the whole mission behind Casa de los Duces is fostering growth and development mentally, spiritually, and emotionally within the Black and Brown community. Because for some reason, talking about our feelings, going to therapy, doing anything besides going to church, no bueno. We need to connect back with our roots. We need to connect back with our ancestors. We need to connect back with practices that is true to us. We need a space that is safe, because a lot of churches will demonize therapy and put people in motherfucking psychosis because, oh, you're depressed, that's just a demon. And it's, no, a person's really depressed. And again, with some spiritual spaces, they ignore the mental side and emotional sides of things and put everything a lot of time up on spirit. Oh, that's a negative spirit you have. You don't need therapy. Psychosis doesn't exist. You're spiritually gifted. And it's like, no, some people really are in psychosis. Some people really are schizophrenic. Some people really have PTSD. Like, no, we can't push this aside and think, no. So Casa de los Duces is that space because I'm a spiritual girly, but I'm an ex-registered behavior technician. I went to school for a bit for psychology, and I was going for psychology and criminology. I am a certified yoga instructor. I got certified during COVID. I am a spiritualist. I'm a herbalist, right? I do all these different things. I work with the body, work with the mind for sure, and definitely the spirit because it is needed in our community, right? We need a space that is safe because our spirit knows something is up, but a lot of people are scared to tap in with their own spirit because we all have our own spirit. A lot of people are scared to tap in with their own spirit because they don't understand, because a lot of spaces nowadays is pushing you to disconnect from it. And that is why, one of the reasons why you are experiencing what you're experiencing, right? On top of the stress that this world is putting on it, the societal norms is being pushed, right? These things is being pushed. So it's a lot of things that's going on. So Casa de los Duces was created for that space so we can grow and develop mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. Not only as individuals, but also as a community. Because we talk about how we don't have community. We talk about how we don't have unity and all this stuff. This is that space. So if you have been pleading for a space, come check it out. I don't want to hear nothing else about there's no community. You got to get your ass up out your house if you want that community. But anyways, let's move on. So what is nervous system regulation? So it's simply defined as your body's ability to move through stress and return to a state of safety and balance. Now, this is the thing. In the Black and brown community, a lot of times we don't have a state of safety and balance. We may think that we are safe, but we have just become accustomed to functioning in dysfunction. I'm just gonna have to, gotta be honest, right? Fight or flight. That's a response to being in an unsafe space. Being frozen, fawn, right? Dysregulation can look like anxiety, irritability, exhaustion, hypervigilance, emotional shutdown. How many people have you seen in your family like that? Yes, throughout the day, throughout the week, we can become overwhelmed, right? We can become very stressed, and now we're irritable, and now we're yelling, and now we're agitated, and now the other person's getting irritated, agitated, which is adding fuel to the fire. But you're really stressed out because of what's going on at home. However, you can't really communicate that because you're not even putting two and two together, right? Again, there's episodes where I talked about I could have sworn there was an episode where I talked about having stability, right? And how, and I know it definitely was in that video where I talked about hustle culture and things like that. Fight or flight responses. A lot of us literally we have, I don't want to say we've grown accustomed to, but we are in this space of, yes, there's always things going on, but we just don't have true peace. I know I talked about this when going to Cuba. Like, when I went to Cuba, I know what peace feels like now. For sure, for sure. Like, I know what that feeling feels like. And I am doing what is necessary, but also doing what I can to give myself that, because that is how I want to live. Because also, your body, again, starts to function a lot smoother and a lot better when you are not in that stressful state. A good example, if you cannot mierda multiple times in a day, or at least once a day, something's going on. I told someone, I was like, this gut that I have, I was like, that's not fat, that's stress. The roundness of my face, of how it's a lot more rounder, like, that's stress. Cortisol levels is high. Where is that stress coming from, right? So we need to identify these things so the way we can then start making the changes. You don't identify something to beat yourself up about it. You identify it so the way you can treat it, right? When you go to a doctor and they identify that something is happening with you, they're not beating you. They're identifying so the way we can target that and fix it. Okay, so again, do not beat yourself up about any of these things that we talk about in these episodes. It's so the way you can start making the change. You have been requesting to make a change in your life. That requires you to acknowledge things. That requires you to have grace with yourself because you're human. Okay, and we're going to move forward. Okay, so sometimes what you call stress is actually just a dysregulated nervous system. A lot of people don't know how to respond to certain situations. Again, I'm really heavy on your childhood affects a lot of things. We learn how to communicate as children, right? We learn how to express ourselves as children. So you lived in a household where expressing your emotions was frowned upon, right? It was punished because you don't get to have the last word. Don't talk back, but it's like I'm trying to explain to you something. You see what I'm saying? So have some patience with yourself. Let's go to Google for real quick. First off, you're supposed to be taking me to Google, not Bing. I don't want you to know Bing. Let's go to Google and see what Google has to say about nervous system regulation. Okay. So per Google, nervous system regulation involves shifting the body from a stress dysregulated state, the fight, flight, or freeze, to calm, balanced state, often termed the safe and social mode, which involves tools like deep breathing, cold exposure, grounding, physical movement to activate the parasympathetic rest and digest system. Signs of dysregulated nervous system: anxiety, panic, right? Panic attacks, irritability, or rage. Under arousal, numbness, dissociation, or the freeze state. Physical symptoms: chronic fatigue, digestive issues, tension, um, teeth grinding, clenching of the jaw, sort of things as well. So there are ways to regulate the nervous system, right? The vagus nerve activation, humming, singing, or gargling can trigger the vagus nerve, which helps lower heart rate under stress. People always laugh at me because I always sing. I'm always singing. I call myself a little songbird. I'm always singing. Because I'm happy, but also it does help me to calm down. When I'm stressed, I'm like, I gotta sing. Humming is something that my great grandmother used to always do. She would hum all day long, but also humming is healing to the body. Okay, so my great grandmother she didn't teach me that, but I remember she would always hum, and I can hear it. Like the one she did the same one every single time. She did it in church. She would close her eyes and she would do it. Like all these things. Breath work is another thing. Slow, intentional breathing signals safety to the brain. And there's different breathing techniques, right? And they do different things. There's one that will heat the body. There's one that will cool the body. Cold exposure, splashing freezing water on the face, or ending a shower with cold water can trigger a rest. They do say um, rinsing off with cold water is a great way to help you sleep at night. So at night, you definitely want to do like a cold shower. During the day, you want to do warm. But also, when you do a cold shower, your body is going to get hot. And that's just so your body's cold, so it's going to be trying to warm it up. So it's going to, that's what it's going to do. Physical movement and grounding, yoga, walking, or shaking off tension helps process adrenaline. Grounding techniques include focusing on sensations like feeling your feet on the ground. Somatic and sensory techniques, using a weighted blanket, listening to calming music, or engaging in mindful deep pressure touch. And this is, again, I could talk about some indigenous things. Drumming, native hand drumming, sound bowls, right? Those chants that be happening at powwows while they're drumming, healing, and it's also doing some spiritual stuff to it. These things is ancestral. Our ancestors knew this. We didn't need to put a name on it. It was something that you did. Okay. The cold shower thing, the cold exposure. Again, when they would give cold chips to a mom while she's in labor to help calm her. When someone is freaking out, they will splash cold water, right? And it's that shock. Okay. There's types of regulations. There's down regulation and up regulation. Down regulation techniques to calm the system down from high anxiety, hyper aroused state. So deep breathing is going to be one of those things. An up regulation, methods to wake up the system from low energy, or the freeze or the fawn state, such as dancing, light exercise, or cold exposure. So when someone's sad, what do the older generation do? They'll like, come on, let's move, let's dance, right? And the person's like, oh, I don't want to do it. And then out of nowhere, they get very happy and they're like enjoying themselves. Again, we don't put names on things in the Black and brown community. It's just something we do. We feel it. We know it, right? Again, we got that inner spirit. Causes of nervous system dysregulation, so chronic stress, long-term exposure to work, financial or personal pressure, trauma. Past or present traumatic events can cause the nervous system to stay on high alert. Lack of rest, poor sleep hygiene, or ignoring the body's need for recovery. Effective regulation often involves daily routines of good sleep, exercise, connection, rather than one-time fixes. And this is why I used to always get on people when it would come down to um, doing mushrooms. I would be real big on like, I don't want to do mushrooms. I don't want to do ayahuasca to regulate my spirit, to regulate my nervous system, to heal. Because my spirit was telling me like, I don't need those things to heal. Like, yeah, those things are helpful, but I don't need those things to heal. Right? Let's see if I can get this to focus a lot better. Okay. I don't need those things to heal. It's really great. Yeah, it's great to have, but that's not, sweetheart. No. you don't need to do all that. So let's move on to the next thing. The mind. How thoughts shape the body. Now, spiritually, also not spiritually, quantumly. Is quantumly a word? Anyways, we know that our mind creates our reality, right? It creates our world around us, right? Perception is a big thing when it comes to manifesting and speak it to existence. But also when you speak things, is what I say, speak kind to yourself, because your mind is going to accept that as truth. Science backs a lot of things that spiritually we know. So overthinking and nervous system activation, intrusive thoughts, rumination, anxiety loops, the mind-body connection. Thoughts create physical responses. The body reacts even when danger isn't present. So what thoughts keep your body in survival mode? I want you guys to answer that question to yourself. What thoughts keep your body in survival mode? And also what are your thoughts creating, safety or tension? We tend to overthink. Overthinking can be poisonous. It can be poisonous to your mind, can be poisonous to your body, can be poisonous to your spirit. Because a lot of the time when a person is overthinking, they are talking themselves out, they are doubting, they're questioning. And again, you ever sit and talk to someone and they start thinking heavily on something and it's like, well, what if this happens? Oh my God. And then they start hyperventilating. It's like, whoa, calm down. That brings me to that saying of like, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Or don't count your chickens before they hatch, right? It's a whole thing of relax. Take things step by step. You'll cross that bridge when you get to it, because we make up scenarios in our heads that is not about to happen. But it's the whole thing, oh, I just want to be prepared. Yeah, I understand you want to be prepared. Cool. But don't create this scenario in your mind to the point to where now you about to make it a reality, right? Some people say, oh, I meant, yeah, it can come into manifestation. And this is the whole thing of like, you can't overthink everything. Because yes, you can manifest things. However, sometimes that manifestation is not from spirit. It is because you started doing the things to prompt it to happen. Okay. Another one is that Yeah, those are the two main ones, but don't overthink something, right? For example, when people go get readings, the reading can say, oh, this is going to happen. So the person's freaking out. And I used to always tell people, this is going to happen if you continue this path that you're walking. If you continue doing whatever it is that you are doing, this is going to happen. However, if you change your action, this is not going to happen. So there's no need to overthink. Just change what you're doing. Point blank period. If you get a reading and something good comes out, well, this is going to happen. That means whatever it is you're doing, keep it up. Do not change the course. Trying to make it happen. It was already going to happen. Now you're doing things differently, so now you're about to get a different reaction, right? Then you're going to be mad, oh, that didn't happen. Well, you changed paths. You started doing other things. You know what I'm saying? The intrusive thoughts. I get intrusive thoughts. Okay, I get intrusive thoughts. However, what I have learned is that when I have an intrusive thought, I tend to counteract it. Okay, so if I am like, I don't know, driving and something negative comes to my mind, I have a word that I will say, so you can say something like in your mind when you have that little intrusive thought, be like, peace, peace, like just keep repeating a word over and over again and then it's gone, right? Or when intrusive thoughts come and it's saying like, oh, this is going to happen, and you like, that's a lie, that's false, right? Those things. The anxiety loop again, the intrusive thoughts, the overthinking, okay? Your body will create those physical responses because a lot of times we freak ourselves out, and really let's look at why this happens. This typically happens because we are doing something that we are not familiar with, right? So therefore we are afraid of what's on the other side, or we're afraid of the process, or we are just scared because we don't want to make a mistake. And so then again, now our body's reacting. Now we're tensing up. Like, think of public speaking. A person who is afraid of public speaking is because they think people are going to laugh at them. They think they're going to mess up. What if I trip? What if my pants fall down? What if I get stuck, right? So now they're tense. They're frozen, or they're hyperventilating, or they have a panic attack, right? And it's like you overthought and your body now is reacting. Your mind is a powerful, powerful tool, not only spiritually, but also physically. Okay. Your body is a universe. Your body is your universe. Your mind is the conductor. So whatever you are signaling, whatever you are sending to your brain, whatever you are focusing on the brain, it is going to manifest. Another thing when it comes to that, and we'll talk about this in another episode, is that when you harbor emotions, that manifests in your body too. When you harbor trauma, it manifests in your body. It can manifest in a form of some digestive issues. It can manifest in the form of like some reproductive issues. It can manifest in many different ways. Okay. The body, where stress lives. So I don't know if you guys are into chakras. Okay. A lot of people are familiar with the root chakra, the sacral, the solar, the heart, the throat, the eyes. Well, not the eyes, the forehead, the crown. But there's many more chakras than those 7. Those are just the 7 that people focus on, but there's a lot more. But when people talk about your sacral, right, that's going to be dealing with the reproductive, right? So when people are like, oh, my sacral, or matter of fact, better yet, the throat, because a lot of people are like, oh, my throat chakra is blocked, so I need to start saying this, that, and the third. That throat chakra is blocked, not because you need to start yelling at people, but because you don't advocate for yourself all the time. You don't stick up for yourself, right? You bite your tongue a lot of time because you don't want to be quote unquote confrontational, whatever the case may be. But how does it manifest? Tension in the shoulders, your jaw, your stomach, chronic fatigue, shallow breathing, again, digestive issues, that bad memory. You are stressed. When you go through something very traumatic, your brain, when you go through something extremely traumatic, your brain will take away that memory, right? Because it's protecting you. But also, when you are very stressed, it's like your mind's running 1,000 miles per hour, and that's why you're forgetting. Okay. The clenching of the jaw. Okay. Again, I was sitting with cacao, and I have been working on regulating my nervous system, right? Releasing stress and moving forward. I've been using different things physically, spiritually. Okay. And one thing I noticed that my body started doing was clenching the jaw. I don't clench my jaw. So when I started having jaw pain, it didn't make any sense because I woke up with it. I don't grind my teeth in my sleep. I don't clench my jaw in my sleep. So when I woke up with it, and throughout the day, I noticed I was clenching my jaw. And I was trying to like stop it, but my body I was literally trying to like stop doing it. I don't even know how. Because now that I'm closing my jaw, I can feel both my teeth in the back on left and right touching each other. But for some reason, all I kept feeling was the right side. Like the left side, I could not feel at all. Like I was trying to touch the teeth, it just wouldn't touch. I don't know what was going on. It felt like my jaw just completely shifted. Like it was so crazy. But then I sat there and I was like, I'm doing some healing work and I'm releasing some stress. I'm changing my routine, changing my patterns. And again, I'm so used to doing something so in a certain way, I've become content, right? I found some type of comfortability in that chaos. And now that I'm trying to change it, my body's responding. And the body's going to respond how it's going to respond. But the biggest thing is do not fight your body. And it sounds crazy to say it, but do not fight your body when it is doing it. Because a lot of times when you're fighting, I don't know if you guys ever had that little toy where you put both of your fingers in, and the more you pulled, the tighter it would get. And so when you relax and you sit in it, that's when it loosened up and you can take it off, right? So it's the same thing when it comes to dealing with stress, when it comes to healing work. Do not fight it. Do not fight that emotion. Do not fight that sensation you're feeling. Acknowledge it. Sit with it for a second. Because again, it's like you are trying to put out a fire with gasoline. You know, it's going to make it bigger. And a lot of people don't understand how to ground themselves. We'll get into it. But the body stores what the mind suppresses. Okay? Remember that. The body stores what the body stresses. Your body also cares what your mouth has never said. Right? When your heart chakra, when you are carrying a lot of emotions that you have not dealt with, you will have upper back pain. Right? Right along your shoulder blade and stuff like that, you'll get this pain. There's emotions that is being harbored. You may feel it in your shoulders, right? Because you're also, someone that walk around with their shoulders all the way up, like all the time, like, dang, relax. And it's like, right, it's their stress. There's something that's weighing heavy on them emotionally. They need to let it out. So there are ways to regulating this: breath work, movement. Dancing is a really great one. I look at people that have a hard time dancing, that is very stiff. I I tie that to a blocked root chakra, because the root chakra is going to deal with, como se dice, the root chakra deals with like its foundation. It is stability. What else is the root chakra? It's just overall like that foundation of things. That's your safety. That is your security. It is just your basic survival needs, right? That's going to include financial safety, shelter, and physical health. Okay. So dancing is something that when I see a person is very stiff, like they can't move their hips, blocked root chakra. And again, it's also just getting comfortable and familiar, because it's like maybe that's also blocked because the mind, they're stuck in their head, worried about how other people are going to perceive them, worried that they're going to make a fool of themselves. Oh, I can't dance. Don't nobody care. What is dancing, anyways, but movement? You can move, you can dance, you know. Stretching is another one. Yoga is great. But this is my thing with yoga. Going to yoga studios, again, as a certified yoga instructor, going to these yoga studios, they do not focus on the practice of yoga. They are really just coming in to stretch. But stretching is good because it releases tension in the body and it makes you feel good. But if you're going to go to yoga, yoga is a practice. It is a way of life. A lot of people don't realize that. They just want to go get a good workout. But yoga is beautiful because it targets the mind, body, and spirit. That's why I love yoga. Stillness is another thing. I sat here, and this is what I talked about in my TikTok video for a bit, was I have the tendency of when I'm working, right, doing all this work, I will eat. I will go pick up fast food, but I will eat in between jobs, right? So I'm eating, rushing to my job, eating, rushing to my job. And it's like, dang, how about you let the food be there? You drive to where you're going. When you get to where you're at, take a moment, sit down and eat. So your digestive system can digest it, because you're not rushing, you're not scarfing it down in a rush to get somewhere where you're going to just have to sit and wait anyways. So at least be present. Stillness is also being present in that moment. You ever get somewhere and it's like, I just want to take this in for a second. It's stillness. Listening, like just being present in your surrounding, being present in your emotion. When you go to a park, just sit there, be present. Take in the wind brushing up against you. Take in the birds singing. Take into all the background chatter, right? Just take in, breathe the air. Like, okay. Sleep is another good thing. Sleep is another good thing. Sleep also can let you know that sleep is going to be one of the best indications that you are being worked hard. You are working yourself hard. But sleep is also a good way for you to regulate. That's why your body's going to go to sleep. It's regulated. Hell, you putting all this overtime by the rest, sleep, you need it. I'm a type of person that I wake up early, but I know when I'm like really like stressed, overworked, I will take multiple naps, and I'm not a napper. I will take naps, but also if I sleep in, That's not often. And my sleep in is like 8:30. That's sleeping into me. If I sleep in, tired. So the spirit, this is on the spirit, energetic safety and grounding. So we have spiritual grounding, ritual as regulation, connecting to nature, prayer and meditation, ancestor connection, and energetic cleansing. So spiritual practices can support nervous system safety. If you are with a responsible practitioner, you have some practitioners that are not responsible. You have practitioners that will actually add to the trauma. I have had my experience of being around practitioners and they think they're about to help me through some trauma. And it's like, if anything, you're about to add to it. Okay? You're about to add to it. You may think that you're helping, but you are about to add to that fire. Ancestor connection, your ancestors know a lot because you have more than just one ancestor, right? Don't think your only ancestor is your grandmother or your great grandmother, right? You got more ancestors. You have ancestors you ain't even met. And they are there to help you and guide you. So ancestor veneration is something that's been very great because, again, our ancestors have different practices. Mine's connect heavy with nature. I got indigenous ancestry and being out in nature. That is, and I always tell people when I go out in nature, that is I release. When I'm out in nature and I'm recharged so that I can continue to be the spiritual advisor to others. Because not only am I having my own thing, but I'm also getting their stuff and I'm taking it so they can be good. So it's like I gotta release because I'm holding it all in. And I can tell, and people who've been around me, they can tell when I'm like holding a lot because of like my response to things. It's just out of the norm. Spiritual grounding. Yes, you can use crystals for grounding. Now, crystals is not everyone's thing, and that's okay. Crystals ain't really my thing like that. But spiritual grounding, again, can tie into the prayer and meditation. I am big on prayer, and I also tell people that if you're going to pray, ask for whoever you pray to, for them to assist you. Ask that they take the burden, the weight off your shoulder, off your heart, off your spirit. That they assist you with gaining peace, that you gain confirmation, that you gain clarity, that you gain understanding. Okay? And watch how things start to move. Now, just because you ask them to take it off of you, that don't mean you still don't have work to do. Connecting with nature is a good thing. Go on a hike. Go on a trail walk. Go to the river. Go to the ocean. I don't know. Go to a cave. Right? There's so many things that you can do out in nature. Go hug a tree. And I know that sounds shady and it sounds funny, but no, seriously, go hug a tree. Take your socks off, take your shoes off, and put your feet in that ground. Put your feet in that water. Energetic cleansings. There's a lot of different ways to do that. But those aren't the only things to do, okay? Because again, your stress is affecting you spiritually, affecting you mentally, and affecting you spiritually. So you want to tackle all three. Okay, you want to tackle all three. So why does rest feel hard? Rest can feel hard due to survival mode, right? The chaos just feeling normal, the stillness feeling unsafe, the guilt around slowing down. I know I always felt, because I was taught, that rest had to be earned. Rest had to be earned, and that's a very sad thing. to have to grow up with, of that in order to be able to rest, you have to earn it. So you got to put in X amount of hours. You got to do all these different tasks in order to gain rest. Rest is not a reward. Rest is a necessity. Rest is something that you deserve whenever you need be. Just because you see someone going 1,000 miles per hour don't mean that you got to try to keep up with them. Because while you think, oh, they doing it, I'm going to do it too because I'm the... Little do you know that person needs some rest in damn self. Do not feel guilty for taking moments for yourself. Do not feel guilty for taking breaks. Do not feel guilty for doing nothing. On your off day, it is your off day. Put that phone on Do Not Disturb or put that phone off. Turn it off. Kick your feet up. When I am having a full-on rest day, I'm not cooking. I'm not doing anything. I'm not cooking. I'm not cleaning. I'm going to go pick up some food, get on my damn couch, turn my TV on, and I'm going to sit there. I'm not answering no phone calls. I'm not talking to nobody. I'm not leaving my house to do anything. I'm not working out. I'm going to enjoy this moment of just stillness. I'm not going to study. Because that used to be my thing of like, oh, I'm not going to do work. I'm just going to study. And it's like, that's not rest, sweetheart. You're still working. You're working your mind. Right? Because I felt guilty about doing nothing. Because, oh, I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. There's always going to be things to do. And it'll get done when it gets done. You'll do it when you get to it. Okay? So don't feel guilty for taking a moment. Does your phone not have to charge? Do you not put your phone on the charger at night? Is there not a period of time when your phone is charging and you are leaving it alone? So look at yourself like that of you need to charge your battery. So leave it alone. Stillness can feel very unsafe when you are constantly doing things. Because you're doing things to keep your mind busy. You're doing things to feel, como se dice, you're doing it to feel worthy. You're doing it to feel valued. Yeah, let's get down to it. Like I said this many times, chaos can feel normal when you have sat in it so long. So anything that is healthy, anything that goes against chaos is something that's strange. And it's just, oh, I don't like this feeling. Because you ain't never had peace before. Yeah. That's like when people is constantly in a loud environment, that the moment that they are in a space where there's no noise, oh my gosh, I don't like this, it's so uncomfortable. Because you became accustomed to it. Right? That's like, I'm trying to think of a good example because I have a lot of examples that I'm thinking of, but I'm like, I want a really good one when it comes to chaos. Oh, excuse me. But let's move on. Survival mode addiction. So I had this conversation of, again, with me regulating my nervous system, I'm having to remind myself to, when I take things off my plate, do not put more onto my plate. Because I have a tendency, I will put more on my plate because like I'm so used to doing so much at once that not having so much going on, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing anything. I'm not being productive. And it's like, no. Get out of survival mode because two is like, why are you stressing yourself out? A lot of times we are stressing ourselves out and we want to put the blame on someone else, but a lot of times we are the ones that is doing it because we don't say no. We're always coming to be Captain Save. We're always trying to help other people. Anyways, so this is my opinionated take. A lot of people are trying to heal with information. It's nice to read the books. It's nice to go to workshops. It's nice to do all those things. But healing also requires embodiment. You can know all the things to do for healing, but if you are not walking it, it don't matter. It don't matter. What is the point of you knowing all these things for you not to use those tools? You see what I'm saying? So you can't think your way into safety if your body still has to fight. I know you want to say, I'm safe, I'm safe. It's good. Yes, tell yourself you're safe. Tell yourself you're safe. But also be sure to put yourself in safe situations. Be sure to put yourself in safe environments. Be sure to make yourself feel safe. And a way to feel safe is to see it, is to live it, is to walk it. Good to say, I am abundant, I am abundant, I am prosperous, I am wealthy. Good. Now let's look at your spending so that way that can be reality. Because yes, you probably do have abundance. You probably are very wealthy and prosperous, but your spending habits is poor. You see what I'm saying? So it's more than just a thought. You have to walk it. You got to breathe it. You got to live it. And this is where spirituality comes into play. And spirituality is a way of life. It is not something that you just pick up on a Tuesday. Magic and spirituality are two different things. Do they cross intersect? Yes, they do, but they are two different things. You have to live it, breathe it, walk it. That's why when people go into practice like Ifa, Isheshe, Kandomble, Voodoo, Hoodoo, all these different things, they will say it is a way of life. That's what I would say. People will be like, Lukumi, Isheshe, like the original traditions, it's not a religion. It is a way of life. Because there are things that go on with it, because it's to assist you. You are giving tools to be in alignment with your destiny, and that means you need to walk that walk. You need to live it. Understanding is not the same as regulation. You can have an understanding of, like for me, I'll say I understand why a lot of things happen. I understand why I went through what I went through. I get it now. But that's not regulation. I'm aware of this. I understand it now. Got my clarity. But now there's a work that needs to be done to regulate. Right? Healing is teaching your body what safety feels like. Again, when people think of healing, it's all in the mind. Like, oh, I healed from it. Your body is still holding on to it, sweetheart. You may mentally have become aware of it. But how is your body responding to this? Right? So I got some more reflective questions for you guys. What does Wait, let me take a break. Where does stress show up in your body? Does stress show up in your gut? You think that you got IBS? You think you constipated? You are stressed. Your body's not digesting properly. You're stressed. You know you drink a lot of water. You know you eat a lot of fiber. You know you eat all these good things. You still can't go? Stressed. You always got your shoulders up like this, right? Stress. Your upper back, lower back hurts. That can be because of stress. Constant headaches. It can be because of stress. Clenching of the jaw can be because of stress. A good example for this. You want to know how your eyes, you want to know when your eyes are stressed, how to tell your eyes are stressed. You would start getting headaches. Your eyes are stressed, and now you have a headache. So now you have to go wear glasses because your eyes are stressed. You see what I'm saying? Stress shows up. Listen to your body. Your body is intelligent. You may be stupid, but your body is not. Your body is intelligent. The mind is intelligent. Your body knows what you need. Your body's going to do what it needs to do. You just need to feed it. You need to take care of it. That whole your body is a temple. They're not talking about because don't put tattoos. Your body is a temple. Feed it properly. Take care of it like a temple. What makes your body tense? You guys need to start paying attention to these things when you're out. Again, take care of your body. Don't be focused on another person. Take care of yourself first. Don't be so focused on another person. Be aware of what's happening in your own home. When people say, focus on your own home. They're talking about, a physical home. But your physical home is your body. It is your mind. It is your spirit. Take care of that. Last question. What helps me return to myself? What helps you? If you can't answer that question, cool. It's time to explore. It's time to explore what helps you return to yourself. I could tell you what helps me return to myself. Traveling. Traveling. Sitting out in nature. Yeah, being in my house chilling is cool. But being out in nature, traveling, to be out in nature somewhere else too, great. Your body is not working against you. I want you to know that. Your body is just responding the best way it knows how. And you have to teach your body how to respond to things. Your body is going to adapt. I want you to know that your body's going to adapt. When it comes to yoga, I sit here and tell people, because with yin yoga, you typically sit in poses for about 3 to 5 minutes. And I always give the rundown of where in the poses, do not force yourself. But also do not try to talk yourself out of it because you're going to realize your body can do things you didn't think it would be able to. A lot of times we tell ourselves no, right? Our body knows how to do things. When it comes to delivering a baby, those contractions, they're not just contractions. That contraction is helping to push the baby down. So even if you don't push, if you are in the right position, that baby gonna come out. You ain't gotta push. That's why someone when the doctor like stop pushing and she'll be like, I'm not pushing. That body is doing it. It knows what to do. We just tend to fight our body because we are in our minds. I can't do this. I can't do that. Your body knows what to do. All you have to do is submit. Healing is not forcing yourself to be okay. It is gently teaching yourself safety again and again. When you go through a breakup, some people be like, you need to get over it. It takes time. Yeah, today may be a good day. Tomorrow may not be. The next day may be better. And the next day may be better. And then it's like, it takes time. You can't force healing. You can't rush it. It takes time. When you try to force and when you try to rush, you are working against it. And now things are going to take even longer. Okay? How much time we been on here? Let me see. What we at today? 58 minutes. We're doing good. Okay. So that is this episode. Okay. That is this episode. I really, really hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope that this episode put a lot of things in perspective for you. I need you guys to notice where the tension lives in your body, right? Tight neck, tight hips. You'd be surprised how many people got some tight ass hips. Right? Notice what peace brings to you, and notice what your spirit has been asking for. If you need to go to church, go to church. I'm not no church goer, but I know what church can provide. I know the feeling spiritually and emotionally and physically that it can bring to you. Shoot, I'll walk into church. I have no problem with it. Because it's a space where I can just sit and be present in the moment. I can be present with my ancestors. I can be present with God. I can be present with Guadalupe. I can be present, and I can receive whatever message I need, whatever my spirit needs. Like my great aunt would always say, you go to church to feed your soul. You go to church to feed your spirit. You ain't got to go to church for no other reason, right? You don't want to sit and listen to the sermon. You don't want to go to the thing, cool. But you go to church to feed your spirit, right? It's food, okay? Again, please go support Casa de Aguas Duces, fostering growth and development mentally, spiritually, and emotionally within the Black and Brown community. Casa de Aguas Duces is Houston based. There is a TikTok page and an Instagram. I would strongly suggest following the Instagram page. I'm going to, in the description of this podcast, I'm going to have a link for Casa de Aguas Dulces. In that link is a link tree. It'll have the TikTok, it'll have the Instagram, it'll have the website, and it'll also have like an additional donation page for Casa de Aguas Dulces. So I'm going to go ahead and end this episode. I'm very happy that it's one of the least longest ones. Okay. I feel like my English is really messing up. The more that I learn Spanish, I feel like the more my English messes up. But again, I thank you truly for tuning in and listening to this podcast. I thank you for watching. Whether you're watching via Spotify or you're watching via YouTube, I thank you very much. So you guys enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your night, the rest of your week. Until next time. See ya.